If you clicked this video looking for an easy way to lose weight, then go ahead and click another video, because I'm gonna shoot you straight. Losing weight is a very difficult thing to do. It's hard. And there are shortcuts, but those are expensive and they don't build the kind of discipline that actually changes your life. And here's the truth. If you wanna lose weight the right way, it's 100% worth it and it's life-changing. And in this video, I'm gonna give you exactly how to lose weight for your next vacation so that you can show up and have the energy to play with your kids and feel confident and enjoy a life that you've been working for. My name is Michael. On this channel, we discuss personal and professional development from a Christian perspective. I've learned a lot as a husband, youth pastor, and PhD student. And today we're talking about health. And we're gonna follow 8 different steps that I'm gonna give you so that you can lose weight. And this is gonna be a simple, free, 8-step plan for losing weight. Step number 1 is that you need to make a written plan with a measurable goal. Don't start by saying that you want to lose weight for vacation. If your goal is this vague, lose weight for vacation, well, newsflash, people have been doing that forever and it doesn't work, okay? You need to write down a goal, but you also need to make sure that you're being realistic. And a better question, it's not good to say, what do I want to look like or how much weight do I want to lose by my vacation date? That's not a good way to start. You want to start by asking the question, how many weeks do you have until your vacation? Because if you have 2 weeks before your vacation, that's gonna change what is realistic. Because a lot of times people set unrealistic goals and you're doomed before you even start because you didn't think about the actual time that you had available before you set that goal. So another thing to keep in mind is it's not healthy to lose more than about 2 pounds a week. And for most people, 1 pound is a very strong and sustainable amount of weight for you to lose. And if you have 4 weeks, then realistically, you should be aiming for about 4 to 8 pounds. Now, the heavier you are, the more body fat you have, the easier it is to lose. And obviously, the trimmer you are, then it's harder to lose weight. And this is so important because if you have 2 weeks before your vacation, you say, oh, I wanna lose 15 pounds, okay? You're setting yourself up to fail from the beginning. Start by asking how much time do you have, how many weeks do you have before vacation, and then don't commit to losing more than 2 pounds a week. And honestly, 2 pounds a week is the really aggressive amount of weight to lose. Number 2, set a calorie budget. At the end of the day, weight loss comes down to one thing. You have to be taking in less calories than you're burning. And it's not that complicated. People really want to make weight loss super complicated. They say all kinds of different things that I'm not going to get into in this video, but you have to burn more calories than you eat. So logically, you need to know how many calories does your body burn at rest. For me, that's about 1,700 calories a day. I'm 25, I weigh about 155 pounds, and I'm 5'9". And you can do the same thing. Just go into AI and then search, here's my weight, here's my height, and here's how old I am. Give me my resting metabolic rate is the fancy word, but it's just telling you how many calories are you gonna burn by breathing. And then here's another important thing that a lot of people know. There are about 3,500 calories in 1 pound. So if you're gonna lose 1 pound a week, then you need a 500 calorie deficit every single day, meaning you need to eat 500 calories less than you burned. And if you do a workout and you run for a little bit and you realize, oh, I only burned 200 calories in my workout, then you realize a very important truth that you can't outrun a bad diet, no matter how fast you run, okay? So 500 calories a day is gonna get you 1 pound a week that you're gonna lose, and about a 1,000 calorie deficit is gonna allow you to lose about 2 pounds per week. But you don't just need to know your deficit, you also need to make sure that you track what you eat every single day. And do not rely on your memory, because your memory is not objective. You tend to be nicer to yourself logically and in your own brain whenever you look at your actions. We tend to give our own selves the benefit of the doubt, okay? But when you write down exactly how many calories you eat and you have a number, that is much different than just trying to keep track in your brain. So you can use an app, you can use a spreadsheet, you can use AI, whatever you use, you need to write down how many calories you ate every single day. And then also, don't rely on exercise. As I mentioned earlier, you can't outrun a bad diet. The exercise, it needs to be a bonus. It shouldn't be the main thing that you're relying on, because if you're a busy person, there could be days where it's difficult to get the exercise in. but at the end of the day, it's controlling your weight is controlling your eating. So make sure that you set a daily calorie budget. Step number 3, weigh yourself every morning. There's a phrase that goes like this: if you don't measure it, then you can't improve it. And I've seen that in all the different areas of my own life, school, fitness, whatever. If you want to get better at it, you have to measure it. And if you weigh yourself every morning, that's important because that's the same conditions. Your body fluctuates several pounds, well, really 1 to 2 pounds at different points during the day. So if you weigh yourself in the morning, you're doing that before food gets in your system, water, gets in your system, and then how much salt you eat controls how much water your body holds on to. All those things fluctuate your weight. So if you're weighing yourself sporadically, then you're not going to get a consistent amount of progress. So you want to weigh yourself in the morning, and also set checkpoints on your calendar so that you actually evaluate your progress. The last time I lost 10 pounds, I believe it was about 10 pounds I was in the 160s and I went to the low 150s. Maybe it was 160 to 150 pounds. And I just put the date, the calendar weight on a specific date in my calendar. So I could see, okay, I want to be this weight by this day. And I did the math, how many weeks I had, and then how many pounds I wanted to lose. But then at the halfway point, say I wanted to lose 10 pounds in 8 weeks. Well, at the halfway point, at 4 weeks, I need to have lost 5 pounds. And then in the weeks leading up to that halfway point, I'm looking, how am I doing? Am I headed in the right direction? Am I not losing any weight? Because if you've gone 3 weeks and you haven't lost any weight, and your checkpoint is at the 4-week mark, then you realize that you're doing something wrong. And that's important because a lot of people, they just set this goal and then they get to that, they don't pay attention to the halfway point or anything. And so as they're coming up to the goal, the final day where they're trying to hit a certain weight, they get discouraged because they're not on track. And but you could have hijacked that process if earlier you looked and said, how am I doing? Am I making sure that I'm on route to that goal that I set, or am I falling off the wagon a little bit? And most people fail because it's not because they can't lose weight. They fail because they don't track and they don't adjust. Okay, so make sure that you are tracking your weight every single day. Put it in a spreadsheet. You can also use different apps that let you enter it in every single day. But I like spreadsheets because they're free. And I just put my weight in the spreadsheet every single day. I know that there's 8 weeks out where I want to be a certain weight, and then I do all 7 days, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I have that weight for week 1, and I go to the next column over, and then I do week 2. So I can see that 8-week mark coming up, and I'm able to make sure that I'm weighing myself every morning and I'm on track according to that goal. Number 4 is track your progress. So when you write down your weight in a spreadsheet every single day, you can clearly see what's happening, and seeing that progress is very motivating. And vice versa, not seeing progress is discouraging, but that is part of it, because when you don't see the progress you're anticipating, that's a huge factor to creating urgency, because you're not doing what you need to be doing, and you can pay attention. You can see, oh, I need to change something. But a lot of people, they don't keep track. They just vaguely say, I want to lose weight. And that never happens because it's not measurable and there's not a date or a deadline that's coming up. But if you say a goal like, I want to lose 10 pounds in 10 weeks, and you put that in your calendar, and then you create a spreadsheet and you mark what your weight is every single day, weighing yourself in the morning, now we're talking. Now you're going to most likely achieve the kind of goals that you set, assuming that you set them in a sustainable way and it wasn't too strong of a goal. So here's the truth. If you are going to lose weight, you have to write things down, and you have to make sure that you track your progress. Another thing you can do, step number 5, is pick a partner. Don't try to do this by yourself. I have a friend in one of my classes for school, and we had a class together a few months ago, and we just started texting each other. And we hold each other accountable. We tell each other, all right, I got this 25-page paper due this day, and in this last class, we had to memorize 1,000 Greek words, and it was a 200 fill-in-the-blank test. But we texted each other starting about 10 weeks out and said, hey, how you doing on the vocab? And it's a Greek vocab test. So we were keeping each other accountable, but it was so much easier because I had a partner. I had someone else who was helping me. I wasn't doing it by myself. And the same thing would happen whenever, last time I lost 10 pounds last year. I got a friend. We both were in the same Google spreadsheet. He's actually my landlord, but we were tracking our weight every single day. And then I saw when he was behind and he saw when I was behind, but we weren't doing it alone. And then it becomes a game and it's fun and you're taking a friend and you're achieving different things and it's exciting. So you don't have to do this alone. And it helps so much if you pick a partner and you don't try to do things completely on your own and completely relying on your own willpower. And there's also more accountability. And like I said, you can really make it a game if you get other people involved. Number 6, create a penalty. I heard about a guy here in the area where I live, and he went around to all the people in his office and said, I'll give you $100 if I don't weigh this by this date. So he added a penalty. And he went to, I think it was like 10 different people in the office, and he had been out like $1,000. Now you don't have to do that necessarily, but if you want to really make a difference in your life, there's one time I told one of my friends, all right, if I'm late one more time, I owe you $100, because I was so mad about being late. This is when I was like 19. And I just really wanted to grow in that area, so I added a penalty. And I did lose $100 because I was like late the next day. But I'm not suggesting that you throw $100 out there, but add a penalty. What happens if you don't reach your goal? You want to be this weight in this many weeks. What happens if you fail? There should be a penalty. You should have some skin in the game. That's a big reason why if you want to start advanced education, you got to cough up some cash, because even if someone could give you a free education, you don't have any skin in the game, and so it's easier for you to maybe not do as well because it's not going to cost you anything. So what's it going to cost you if you don't hit your goal, and how can you set that up so that there's more accountability? And like I said, man, if you do these things and you make a game out of it, it's a lot of fun. Number 7, plan exercise. Exercise matters, but there's a reason I'm talking about this as number 7, because it's not the main driver of weight loss. A lot of people do not lose weight because they don't understand that eating is how you lose weight, not exercise. And as I said earlier, you can't outrun a bad diet. I don't care how fast you are. You can't outrun the calories that you eat if it is in a large excess. And you may have also heard the phrase that abs are made in the kitchen. This is also true. There's a reason why the phrase comes out, because if you really want to be a low body fat, then you have to make sure that you're eating what you need to be eating. So use exercise. Don't allow it to be this main thing you're relying on to lose weight, but use it in addition, okay? I said my resting metabolic rate is like 17 to 1800 calories a day, but I usually burn 22 to 2300 because of exercise. But there are days where I'm doing research for my school projects, and I don't necessarily get out there and burn 300 calories in the gym like a normal day. Well, if you're banking on the exercise, then now you're set behind your goal. But if your exercise is addition, it's a bonus, then even if you didn't exercise that day, you still ate the right amount, and so you're gonna be able to lose the weight that you wanna lose. So make sure that you plan exercise, but don't allow it to be the main thing you're relying on. Number 8, don't drink calories. This is one of the easiest wins, is to just stop drinking calories. Stick to water. Drink little drinks that are 0 calories or whatever, but you'd be surprised how many calories you consume every day by just drinking whatever sodas or even tea, or milk is good if you're trying to build muscle and you're trying to add weight. But if you look at the calories in milk, there's a lot of calories there. So make sure that you don't drink calories when you're trying to lose weight, because that's a really easy way that calories just slip in. And another one is sauces. When I started counting my calories, I realized how many calories are in just a little Chick-fil-A sauce. It's a lot. And if you're the weight that you want to be, then you can have those things. But if you're really trying to cut, then you need to be strategic about that. If you follow this plan, you're not just gonna lose weight, but you're gonna build discipline. And that discipline, it'll carry over to the other areas of your life if you're intentional. The people who are intentional about their fitness are also far more equipped to handle their finances, and also to handle their time management and handle their employees at work, whatever the case is, because why? You can control your own behavior. And controlling your own behavior is something few people know how to do to a high level, but it is so important. And if you can learn, use your fitness to hold yourself accountable, make yourself a little uncomfortable and push yourself to grow, then you're being so faithful with the time that God has given you here on earth. And your bodies are not your own. We shouldn't forget that in God's word it says that our bodies are a temple, and our bodies have been bought with a price. So we should glorify God with them. Well, if you are way overweight, you're not doing that the way that God has called you to. So I don't want to sound like a jerk on here, but if you are somebody who's overweight, man, I'd encourage you to work on that. Put these 8 steps into practice, make yourself a plan, and I hope this video helped you. Subscribe if you like the content. We do bi-weekly videos, and in this season of my life, that's what I can commit to. We talk about personal, professional development, and we'll see you guys in the next one.